I've been paying attention to things online, and I've been posting the occasional video over on the other channel, on the Entertainment Guy channel, about how things have been going, and posting them over here as well, here and there. And the number one thing is, so coming up, I guess going on now, there's a call between all of the major players in the sporting industries in North America and the president. Now, I know there's a lot of talk and divisiveness when it comes to speaking of the president of the United States and speaking of things of that nature, and sadly everything has to become us versus them, and regardless of who you see as us or don't see as us, it doesn't really matter for the sake of this video. But what I see a lot is, well, who cares? It's just sports. Who cares? Who cares? We have more to worry about right now than sports. Right. So what we're going through right now is the greatest economic shutdown, I'll say, in history, just because back in 1918 and 1919, the global economy wasn't what it is now. You don't see it then, and we're in kind of a scary time, and I agree with it being a scary time. I've got a wife who's making masks and surgical caps every day, all day, for local medical, and for other people as well that she's mailing them out to, who are either immunocompromised or older, or for whatever reason they have tremendous concerns. And of course, I have my own mask, which is never far away as well. And so, in all of this discussion, it's easy to say, who cares? Who cares if hockey's shut down? Well, I don't know. Arena workers? Guys who work in the store? Your Zamboni drivers? David Ayers of this world? They care. Everybody who's directly impacted. Tourism. Absolutely. There are people who come into town to watch Canuck games. They're not coming into town now. Nobody's coming into town. Everything's shut down. We're looking at a situation where restaurants that have closed may not be able to reopen. They may not have the money to do so. And it gets into that uncomfortable conversation that at some point in time, a lot of people are going to have a discussion about, which is a complete and total collapse of everything. And if there's a complete and total collapse of everything, well, that's everything. So I'm glad I don't have to make these decisions. I'm glad I can keep this just to a sports side of things. But when I see people saying, who cares about sports? Well, a lot of people care about sports. That's why it makes billions of dollars every year. There are a lot of sports fans out there that right now are chomping at the bit for something. And you can sit down and watch classic series on NHL. But for me, when I'm watching classic hockey at this point, I'm like, and that's something we don't have right now. I even was talking to my wife last night, and we were watching some show on Disney Plus, and they had a bunch of people out there dancing, and I said that was during a time when we were all allowed to be out in public and people could dance together. And she admitted that she's had that same thought watching some of these shows, where she's like, wow, that's something that we don't have right now. And there's a sanity equation in all of this, where being stuck at home, okay, and I'm used to being at home. I'm 100% used to this. I'm not used to not having anything to watch while I'm at home that's current. I mean, there's video games and all of that other fun stuff people have going on too. Animal Crossing for the win. I looked, it was all sold out everywhere. I can't get a Switch. I can't get Animal Crossing as much as I'd love to play Animal Crossing. It's not a thing, apparently. Not right now. Everything's sold out because, again, manufacturing being shut down for time at times, and just all of that other wonderful stuff. Now, public health is absolutely the most important thing. There is nothing that I'm going to say that is meant to contradict that, because it is the most important thing. But what gets lost in some of this too is that mental health is really, really important. And if you are stressed, if you are down, if you are dealing with this, that physical stress of everything all the time can lead you to getting sick as well. It'll lower your immune system. So we're all arguing over when there's going to be some kind of a treatment, when there's going to be something that can finally allow us to leave our homes and not worry as much. Sports is part of that. And sports is a huge driver of jobs. Hundreds of thousands of people in the US. I'll say tens of thousands of people employed in Canada as well. And not just your hockey people either. You look right now on the jersey sale sites, and most of their factories are closed down because either they're not considered an essential business, so they get closed down, or maybe their factories get repurposed for making something else, right? So this is affecting people in ways that we don't think about. You don't think about that on the surface. And it does have a wide reaching effect where, like right now, how many people are out there going, I have to go get these jerseys? I'm not. Being honest. My concern right now is there's been an absolutely huge drop when it comes to revenues through YouTube. There's, even though my view counts are still pretty good, my view counts are still pretty darn good. But then when I get the revenue report at the end of the day, I'm like, holy crap, are you serious? So, that has taken all of this that I have around me, and I go, yeah, I'm glad I got that when I did, because I don't know when I'm going to be able to buy anything again. I really don't. And as of, for instance, when I got the last couple of All-Star jerseys I got through Ben H Sports, he gave them to me. He comped me for them because of all the business that I've driven his way, and because they really weren't selling either. So that was why he did that. And he knows that I will advertise that I got jerseys from him, like this fine specimen that I got as well from Ben H Sports. So it's important right now that we of course keep watch over our families and over our loved ones, and we reach out to friends, and you make sure people in your neighborhood are doing okay. And I'm really glad that my family's doing that here, whether it's my daughter making little cards that she's been leaving in people's mailboxes. She went all the way around the block, and we've had gifts back. Somebody gave her a bunch of flowers from their yard. She was all ecstatic that she got flowers. So in the midst of all this, there are some good things happening, but our overall sanity is the big question, which is how long. So one question I hear here and there is, how long can this go on before everything collapses? And the way I've seen it is that we're all under these orders to stay here, and in some places it's a request, some places it's an order. I'm pretty sure if I went out on the street there and started walking around the city, I'd have a police officer pretty quick asking me, "What you doing? What you doing? Can you go home? Thanks." So that's where we're at, and then the question becomes a matter of just how long. It's only been three and a half weeks so far for the NHL's shutdown. We know it's not coming back anytime soon, but we don't have any kind of a certainty. And I get this, and people are going to say, well, of course we don't have certainty because we don't know how this is going to react. And all the models keep changing. Right, the models do keep changing. There are those who focus on the worst possible model. That a model will come out and go, hey, this can go on for this period of time, and it can affect this many. This is going to have people go, that's the one. That's what's going to happen, because we want certainty. And we see that in sports too. Whenever I do previews, season previews especially, or I do reviews, there will be people who want to find certainty in a season preview where, like, my team's making the playoffs, how dare you say they're not? Or how dare you say that team's making the playoffs because they're not going to, because my team's going to knock them out. There's that certainty. And even in this, and maybe in this we see it even more pronounced, where people want a certainty. And in some cases, it's worst case scenario they're looking at and going, that's what's going to happen. And in some cases, we're trying to look at the optimistic side of, hey, if we all do this together, if we all do what we're supposed to do, that makes things better faster. And you definitely, you want to make sure that when things look kind of scary out there, that you're not reopening everything. And I don't think anybody anywhere is advocating for just reopening everything. But at some point, we have to have that discussion of what parts of our world we can sort of work with and reopen, and how, and in what stages we do that. And then that's where sports comes in, because sports is pretty much ground to a halt globally. And for a lot of people, that means there's no income. Like, part of the reason that I get this, part of the reason I'm not going to be seeing much of an income right now either is because advertisers aren't paying much money to advertise when they're not able to make sales. So basically the way it works with YouTube is you have your ad rates, which go up during certain parts of the year and down during others. So going up to Christmas, your rates are going to be really high because people are shopping at Christmas. And then January, they drop like a rock because people aren't shopping during January. So your rates are going to drop. And the number of commercials that people get, number of ads that are served are going to rise or drop depending on the time of year. And that's been a reality of advertising forever. Like, that's something on TV where we all know that the Super Bowl has the highest ad rate on television. And there's a reason. And again, that's sports. That's providing jobs. Provides some sanity for people where they go, all right, my week sucked. I'm not really a huge fan of anything in my life, but at least I can watch the Super Bowl. At least I can sit down on a Saturday night and I've got hockey night in Canada. I got 6 hours of hockey and I can just zone out and I can do that. And we haven't had that and we don't know when we're getting that back. But when people say, well, who cares? It's just sports. Nobody cares. The part that I find funny is, and this is something that Yvonne always says, where somebody will just put a who cares comment up. She's like, well, they cared. They clicked on it. They clearly cared. There was an encouraging study released by UBC where they're saying, you know what, we think we've got a working plan for how we can start to impact the ongoing issue we're having as a society where we can go out again because we're working on finding a treatment. And, you know, it still had this whole reaction of most people seem to go, oh, that's great. And then there were some going, oh, great, fine, great. What? Yeah, no, that's great. Because right now, what's going on and out there is affecting all of us. And if you're watching this and you're in the States, you might be one of the 9 million people who successfully applied for unemployment. There are plenty of people in the States who haven't been able to get through unemployment depending on what state you're in because it might be a huge hassle to actually apply for unemployment. And in Canada, there are millions of people who have been put out of work by this. So, again, this being just part of the economy, what this does for major centers, what this does for online retailers, what this does for brick and mortar retailers, I think that it gets understated. Like, it's almost as if the sports industry makes billions and billions and billions of dollars, and now that it's shut down, people are saying, well, nobody really cares. Well, they do, because it's made billions and billions and billions of dollars. You don't make all that money if people don't care. It's sort of the same as, you know, movies. Nobody's going to the theaters. Theaters are all closed down. And that's something, too, that we miss. You know, the summer movie season's coming up, and it looks like everything's been pushed away. And, again, that's putting a lot of people out of work. And you can focus on, well, those athletes all make millions of dollars. Yep. And all those movie stars, they all make millions of dollars. Sure. But what about the guys in the ECHL? They don't make millions of dollars. There are plenty of minor league hockey players right now who aren't quite sure how they're going to make things work. Because again, with millions of people being laid off, where do you apply for work right now if you're an ECHL player and you're out of work altogether? What do you do? So it's fine to focus on your big star players and go, oh, who cares? And fine to focus on your major league, but minor league. Like, for instance, we've got the BCHL just down the street here, Chilliwack Chiefs. That them being closed down, them not, you know, that affects people. CHL closing down affects people, and NCAA being closed down, not doing the Frozen Four, that affects a lot of people. So this is why when people say, well, who cares about sports? A lot of us do. And we have very good reason to care about sports. Because it's not just about a hockey game. It's not just about, you know, a hat trick scored in a game by, oh, Ovi got a hat trick tonight. Well, good, that's great. But just think about all of the people it's affecting, all of the people in sports media right now who are laid off, out of work. When I turn on TSN and I see the American Sports Center feed, it's jarring. It's like, wait, oh, right. because everything's shut down, you don't need to have a Canadian feed because there's nothing going on. So they'll do that. And I'm excited about the NFL draft because it's something happening. So the NFL draft is later this month. I'm excited about it because it's something that's going to happen that's related to sports. And I'm looking forward to having a live stream of that on the Entertainment Guy channel and just having some fun with it. But we do need this. I do hope that whatever comes out of that call today, there's some positivity because it's important. Again, that comes down to the sanity thing. And this to me is the level of importance, because your job can help you keep your sanity. It can also take away your sanity. Depends where you work. I've had the jobs that'll do both, help you with your sanity and destroy it. And then the tourism to me is third. But with the tourism, it helps to create jobs. Just ask Las Vegas right now, where a lot of people are sitting on their thumbs and waiting to go back to work, and not sure how long this can go on. Because again, health and safety are absolutely, they are the ultimate. But if all of us are homeless, right? So that's where I'm really glad I'm not making any of those decisions. I'm really glad I don't have to make any of those decisions. And that for me, I'm in a pretty good spot here, as that I'm self-employed, and I could just, crank out videos and cross my fingers and hope. And right now there's a lot of people sitting at home that don't have jobs. And then there's the other side of it, where there are people being forced to work a ton of overtime in the medical field, and they're taking their own health in their hands. And there are a lot of people in the health field that are, like, they're calling in people who are retired. They're graduating students early so they can jump into the fray. And honestly, that's your heroism right now. And hopefully we have some kind of certainty, and hopefully we have some kind of a way to keep the economy working, and to have a way to do that. Again, maintaining safety is number one. I'm not going to argue that it's not. But when people say sports aren't important, I would argue they are. They are, not for the multimillionaire hockey players, not for them, but for everybody else affected by this. It's a lot of people. So, wherever you are, stay home if you can. Stay safe. Keep your hands nice and clean at all times. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And yes, sports are important, even in a time like this. And some can argue, especially in a time like this, again, when you weigh that with all of the other factors, not diminishing any of the other factors at all. Because, again, this is everywhere. And hopefully we get this fixed sooner rather than later. Thank you guys so much for all your support. We're all in this, and we're going to get through this. I do believe that. I will talk to you again soon.